Hey, it's Sleep Alive, and with me here is the iPhone SE 2022. Hold on. Okay, yeah, it's 2022 and Apple is still using the same design, same displays, same home button, and the same camera sensor from 2017. That's 5 years ago. And for smartphone world, 5 years seems like forever. But when it comes to taking photos, hardware isn't the sole indicator for capturing and creating good images because processing also plays another very important role. And this iPhone SE happened to have one of the latest and greatest processor out there, the Apple A15 Bionic. So why don't we take this 5-year-old camera to go up against the latest and greatest iPhone camera in the market right now, the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Which, as you know, has 3 cameras, all 12 megapixel. While on the new iPhone SE, there's a single 12 megapixel main sensor. That's it. Plain and simple. Anyways, here's a comparison. Right off the bat, we are looking at a pretty similar photo, but we will see that the main lens on the iPhone 13 Pro Max is a little wider than the iPhone SE. It's 26mm on the 13 versus 28mm on the SE. In the first photo, I got to say, not bad SE, the overall looks of the two are very close. The most noticeable difference is the orange color on the wall to the right. That is a little more pop on the iPhone 13 Pro Max thanks to the color being more vibrant. Another color difference is in the color of the leaves, but that's so minor. And for the details, I'm surprised that the SE can actually keep up with the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Wow. It's great. I'm actually really surprised. Here's another photo. In this picture, we can clearly see the white balance on the SE leans more toward the warm tone. Well, it's pretty neutral on the 13 Pro. But for the details and color, I think they are once again neck to neck. Even the dynamic range and noise in the darker area are very comparable. I'm impressed. However, there's one problem I've encountered with the iPhone SE. The display of the iPhone SE doesn't do well under the sun. It's 625 nits max brightness. You can barely see anything in the direct sunlight. So why don't we go indoor? Here we can clearly see the difference between the colors. The color on the fruits on the iPhone 13 Pro Max is super vibrant and super saturated, that it makes the SE look dull. But if you were to look at the photo of the SE alone, it would have been fine. Even though the more accurate version is on the Pro Max. Here's a pretty challenging situation. I would say the SE is still holding its grudge pretty well, but not as well as the iPhone 13 Pro Max. The overall looks between the two are very close, but the 13 Pro Max obviously did a better job here, with better details and better noise reduction. And this sign over here is not overexposed, while on the SE it's pretty blown out. In an even more challenging situation, we will see that the two are even more different. The photo on the iPhone 13 Pro Max is obviously better, with better details throughout the photo once again. Also, there is tons of noise on the iPhone SE, while on the Pro Max still looks clean. This time, the iPhone SE is a bit blurred in some area, which looks like it's suffering from a camera shake with slow shutter speed. Here's another photo, but this time the iPhone SE did hold up surprisingly well. Like the details on this building, the structures and lines doesn't match the level of the 13 Pro Max, but the overall details and noise aren't far behind. Sure, anywhere else the 13 Pro Max still beats it, but the SE is definitely not far behind. But if we turn on the night mode, oh wait. Right, there's no night mode on the SE. So now the iPhone 13 Pro Max is light year ahead. I have no idea why Apple left out one of the most important features on modern smartphones. Could be because of the hardware limitation, but a phone with no night mode in 2022? Come on, Apple! Let's talk about zoom for a bit. Apparently, there is no telephoto camera on the SE, but you can still do digital zoom up to 5 times. And the results are as expected. The 13 Pro totally wins. There's just no competition here. And if you think this can't get any worse, the iPhone SE has no ultra-wide camera. So if you want to capture anything wider than the main and only sensor, the only option is using the panorama mode. While this lets you capture the wide area, it doesn't get as wide or give a look of an ultra-wide lens. Still not a replacement for the ultra-wide lens. Even though the iPhone SE doesn't have the telephoto nor the ultra-wide camera, it still has portrait mode. And the result is pretty good. It's not iPhone 13 Pro Max good, but it's good enough. So when looking at the whole picture, we can see the obvious difference in the red color on the shirt. The red on the 13 Pro Max is deeper and more saturated red, while the SE looks kinda flat. And if we were to take a closer look, we will see that the Pro Max has a cleaner and more realistic background separation. The skin tone on the two looks pretty close, but the details on the Pro Max are at a different level. And for more challenging lights and background, the iPhone SE is still doing a very good job. Even though there are still some misblurred parts, it's no big deal, and the details are a step behind. The skin tone here on the SE looks a bit flat as well. But so far, not bad. But, well, there's a bad news. The iPhone SE won't detect any non-human object, like this fake IKEA plants. And this time, I don't think it's a hardware limitation. It's probably just Apple leaving features behind. Not cool, Apple. Alright, the iPhone SE came out way better than I expected, but only in good lighting. For anything else, the iPhone 13 Pro Max is going to perform better. The iPhone SE isn't going to hold up against the iPhone 13 Pro Max. But now we see the difference between the most expensive and the cheapest iPhone currently available out there. And my verdict is, don't buy the SE. The 2022 iPhone SE is a phone from 5 years ago with a modern chipset and 5G support. It's like everything else on this phone got stuck in the past. And just upgrading the chipset isn't gonna cut it. At a starting price of $429, there are so many better phones out there. Don't buy this phone. So who is this phone for? Well, there are some people who prefer the home button over the swipe gesture. Like my grandma. She said the swipe gesture weren't for her. So yeah, there are definitely some people out there who would prefer a phone that looks and feels like a phone from 2017 today. So that's it for now. What do you think about the new SE? Leave your thoughts down below and like if you like this video, press sub if you want to see more of these contents in the future. See you guys next time, stay safe.